Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Happy
Sure, you're more than welcome to.
Wednesday.
Hello, hello.
Hi. I got
How
to
are
turn you up. I couldn't hear you. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, no, I'm in trouble. I'm kidding. I'm letting people in. I know we're going to have questions galore today. I'm trying. Right, Ed?
Yeah.
Did you register your units in the county yet?
Not yet. We're down. Katya's out. She has a family emergency, so we're kind of shorthanded. So we'll do it when she gets back.
That feels like. Somebody like, no, the phone's ringing still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry to deal with their garbage, if you will. I'm not in a hurry.
I have a couple of questions, Patty.
Sure. What can I answer for you?
One is every time people give money order for the rent, I scan them and keep them in the computer. Is it necessary to keep these copies, or is not necessary? And if so, how many years I should keep them? That's one.
I get what you're asking me. I'm looking at a bunch of moving pieces, so bear with me a second so I can give you a good solid answer. I would keep them for a minimum of 4 years after the tenant vacated.
Got it. My next question, I remember last time you were saying something like, well, there is an easier way to get rid of a tenant besides eviction. It's a lot cheaper, but it seemed like that you were being reserved saying those secrets. And I wanted to know how much of it you can reveal in this podcast. If not, I understand.
I can reveal all of it in this podcast. It has to do with your negotiation skills and your you being familiar with what you can and can't do. As nicely as I could say this, and forgive me, but I'm going to toot my own horn. I'm a really good used car salesman, okay? But I don't sell cars, I rent property. Does that make sense to you? So if you can sell it to them and you can avoid legal, there's a way to do it through property management that you can just manipulate the situation to get what you want. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it works wonders. I know people, let me even see if they're in this meeting. Hang on, let me look. Oh, I know people, and they'll speak up if they want to, that way I'm not calling them out, that have got their properties back in LA County under strict moratoriums using simple property management tactics, not legal. In other words, I'm not saying it's not legal. I'm saying they didn't use an attorney. Does that make sense? They didn't use an attorney to do an eviction. Instead, they got their tenant out using property management skills.
What you talk about cash for keys, I understand, but are there other stuff that you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, then I'd like to hear those.
Well, it's manipulation, and I could sugarcoat it all I want to, but it's until you find out what's going to irritate the tenant or what they're in fear of, and then using that against them.
As long as it's legal, don't go cutting their electrical or utilities or stuff like that.
Talking about doing anything illegal like cutting their electrical to get them out, but there's other terms you can use. Let me give you guys an example, okay? And this is straight property management skills, no legal assistance needed, okay? Managed a property, had tenants moving in on Friday. I went there the landlord called me on Monday morning and said, hey, Patty, did you move the people in already? Because I went there this weekend to do some final things and they're already in the house. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? They're not moving until Friday. He's all, there's people in my house. They were there this weekend. So I got in my car and I drove over there and went, sure to shit, there's the lady in there and she has 7 kids in this house. She broke the lock off the door, gained entry. This is a squatter issue. I call the police and tell them I want them ejected. They're trespassing. I'm the victim here. It's me. I'm the victim. You know, I got all the right words to use. I want them ejected. They are trespassing. I know they have a lease, but that's not with me. I'm the victim here. I'm the victim. You got to keep. And the officer said, she has 7 kids in that house. You need to give her a break and give her a couple weeks to move. She's the victim here. A couple of weeks to move? She just broke in over the weekend. Her brother lives next door. Isn't that ironic? Okay. So what did I do? I didn't get all huffy and puffy with the officer. I said, okay, thank you. I'll be back. And I looked at her and I told her, I'll be back. So I went to work and I went back to work all day and I sat there pissed off. And my little brain was just going, trying to figure out how am I going to get this chick and her 7 kids out by Friday. And it's like Tuesday. What am I going to do? So I got off work. I went up to the property. I'm off the clock. Okay. Knock on the door. Hey girl, how's it going? I know the officer said that you could stay here a couple weeks, but here's the problem. I know for a fact that you didn't turn on electric and you didn't turn on gas. And if you're not gone by the morning, I will be calling CPS on the 7 kids in this house without electrical and without gas. I have no choice. I'm sorry. So good luck with that. I got a phone call from Edison saying, tenant's trying to turn on property. Not my tenant. I'm not authorizing it. She was gone by morning. Do you see what I mean? I manipulated a situation to work in my favor and I didn't need legal assistance. That's what I'm talking about. Did I threaten her? Would I do that in today's market? No. But you understand there's other things that you can do other than going to eviction. For me, and I'll guarantee you this stands for Ed too, and we'll ask him, eviction is last resort. That is the last thing you want to have to do is tell a landlord, you're going to have to give us a couple grand. We're going to have to pay legal to go do this. And it's going to cost you several months of time.
Agree.
We don't like to tell you we're at our last resort, but when we've exhausted all of our professional skills and negotiation tactics and all that stuff, and we're coming up blank, we have no choice. We have no choice at all but to say, okay, I'm waving my white flag. I need legal. And Ed and I have been there before, I guarantee you. And I bet you there's a bunch of other people in here that could say, yeah, I dodged a few bullets using some other types of tactics. Are you talking to me, Ed? Okay, I saw your lips moving. I was like, wait, are you talking to me?
I know my staff members are here. They're asking me.
It's all good.
Thank
So
you.
I hope that answers your question of what I'm trying to say. It's all in how you present yourself. Remember, you represent the tenant. You're there for the tenant. You know what their rights are, and you're going to make sure that you follow them. They build a sense of confidence and a relationship with you. Oh, you know, and this is one of the things I tell tenants when I'm moving them in, and it works great. You guys use it to your advantage. You can tell them, oh yeah, you can hang pictures on the walls, no problem. But if you leave the nail in the wall, that's wear and tear. If you pull the nail out and make a hole, now I can charge you. So when you move out, just leave the nail in the wall and then we can't charge you. What you're doing is you're gaining trust. You're building a relationship. They're trusting you. They're trusting in what you're saying. So you're building this relationship, showing them you're not all for the landlord. You're for equal. You're there for them, fighting for them for what they need. And you're there for the landlord fighting for what they need. But if you build a good, solid relationship with that tenant, there's no reason that you can't explain to them what's going to happen. And I use this a lot. Ed's going to laugh at me when I say it. I already know. Is I say, please don't make me do my job. I'm really good at it. Please don't make me do my job. I don't want to have to do my job. Please. And then they look at you like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I'm really good at it. I'm the eviction bitch. So it's just one of those manipulation, if you will, but it's not really manipulating. You're conversating with them. So it's a business tactic. Let's go with that of, please don't make me do my job. I'm really good at it. I'll tell you this. I told a guy one day, please don't make me do my job. I'm really good at it. He said, Patty, I'm sorry, I'm forced to. So we went to court, we went to trial. We were standing there in front of the judge in the Victorville courthouse when they heard trials in Victorville. And the tenant turns to the judge and says, and now I'd like a trial by jury. This is 10 years ago in Victorville, okay? We didn't do that then. The judge looked at him very firmly and said, I don't think a jury's gonna help you out here either. Your motion's denied. I didn't know that a judge had the right to tell someone they couldn't have a trial by jury, but I went with it. I didn't argue, but I didn't think they could do that. But maybe he couldn't. Maybe he was using those little tactics too. Okay, so a lot of times we as property managers, professional property managers, we do a dance. Okay, that's the best way I could describe it, is we're dancing with the landlord and then we're dancing with the tenant, and we're trying to keep everybody balanced through the relationship, because let's face it, when one goes up here and one falls down here, you have a problem. Okay, whether it's a tenant up here and the landlord down here or vice versa, it's still a problem. And it's your job to bring it back to here, where everybody's happy and happy-go-lucky and, you know, that kind of stuff. So with that being said, being a professional property manager is trying to keep things in balance. And we do have many tactics that we can use, and we get an inkling of something that's going on. We know where to pinpoint ourselves. We know which direction to go. We know which road to go down, right? I hope that helps answer the question. It's not that there's a set skill that, hey, come with me, I can teach you. It's something that you learn over the course of time with trying to keep that balance of the landlord-tenant relationship right.
It also depends on the circumstances. There's, you know, there's things you can do in one situation, but you can't do in another situation.
Exactly. A great example of that is when the tenant calls you and says, we have a flood, get over here right away. And you walk in the house and the ceiling is raining inside the property, okay? One of the first things out of my mouth always is, you're not going to owe rent until this is fixed. Why is that the very first thing out of my mouth? Because first of all, it's the law, okay? Second of all, it usually calms down the situation so that the tenant is not wigging out, flipping out and screaming and hollering about what a piece of crap you are. Oh, wait, I don't owe rent because of this. Okay, I understand now. And it kind of calms down the situation. Then we can talk about the situation. Oh, by the way, did you have renter's insurance like you're supposed to? Because they're going to pay to put you in a hotel. They're going to cover this for you. And guess what? I'm going to pay your deductible, so it's not going to cost you anything either. So you get a nice little vacation away from home. It's how you sell it. It's how you present it. And Ed's still laughing at me because he knows I'm making total sense, because you tell a tenant, look, you don't even have to take out your own trash while you're in the hotel. Okay, it's kind of like a little mini vacation. So we try to
nowadays they have a per diem, and you can't believe that they have the per diem, and it's $207 per day and $33 for a kid and $66 for an adult.
I hope this makes sense to you, Geraldo. I see you going, this is too much. But we're being extremely honest with you. You got to run with that conversation and go, 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 you know? You are so good with wording. I need to call an employer to ask about a potential tenant. Not sure what I can ask. I know the tenant has only been at the job for 5 months. Curious what to ask an employer. For example, are you going to fire this guy soon? Here's the reality. You're only calling who the tenant wants you to call. Huh, Ed? And Ed's nodding his head yes. Why? Because who filled out that paperwork? The tenant? Oh, yeah. So you don't know if you're calling his job or Uncle Bob. Remember that. My theory is, why call them at all? I can run their credit report and see if they're employed there or not. Okay, so they have a job. What are you going to ask them? And you're right, Val. What are you going to ask them?
You might be able to ask them, but they'll answer. They may, if it's a legit employer, they may not be able to answer.
Yep, if it's a legitimate employer, they won't answer.
Right.
There's too many laws in employment law protecting the employee. So with all of that being said, What are you going to call them for? Just like, why would you call the last landlord? You're only calling who the tenant wants you to call. Remember that.
You can do like a Google search, and you can also call and see if it's actually like if it's a professional company, you'll hear a recording, and and for this department press 1 or that department press 2. But
the credit report usually tells you their last known employer, where it's been reported. So that credit report tells you everything you need to know. If you read it properly and you obtain the information out of it, that credit report tells you everything. You don't need to call anybody. Would you agree with that statement, Ed?
I personally agree with it, but we still do call because
I know.
Yeah.
You never know who you're calling. Let's play the game.
Yeah.
Let's call this number.
We
Let's
still call more to appease the landlords and say we did call. Another tip is to call the landlord prior to the last one, because the last landlord is going to want to give a wonderful reference if he's trying to get rid of the tenant that he's trying to get rid of, where the previous one doesn't have that motive to do that.
Okay, you guys are gonna let me see if I can find something on my phone really quick. I know I got rid of you guys. Sorry, just bear with me. I hope you can still hear me. Okay, sorry, I'm working. All right, I saw some more questions come in, so I will get to them. But yeah, we don't turn off utilities. We don't go threaten, hey, I'm getting Guido and we're gonna come out here and kick you out of this house. That's not what we do as property managers. We say things like, please don't make us do my job. I'm really good at it. And I had one I was gonna share with you guys. So I had to evict this guy. I told him, please don't make me do my job. I'm really good at it. He asked for a trial by jury. The judge denied him. And we went to leave the courthouse. And do you know what he said to me? Do you know what he said? Patty, I'm so sorry I made you have to do your job. And I said, oh, I'm not done with my job yet. Wait till you get your disposition of security deposit. Look at Ed laughing because he knows that is one more place we can poke him in the eye. And he's giggling because he knows I'm right. But it's just us trying to say, oh, you thought I was doing my job now? I'm not done yet. Wait till you get your disposition of security deposit. I may see you in small claims in the near future. We're not done yet. It's kind of a way to go, why did you challenge me to begin with? Okay, let me go back to our questions because I know they're building up in there. Think. Are you going to fire this guy soon? There's really not anything to ask. This is too much work. I'm taking units off the market when this shit is over. Sell them with the tenant in them. Why take them off the market? Just saying. And if I just lit a light bulb, I'm sorry. Here's the rub. This is an inherited tenant who wants a larger home. I was able to get him with rental assistance. Now he saved some money and has a new job. My assistance is walking through his current unit now. Okay, I got you. He wants out. Question, we have an active lease that states the tenant is responsible for utilities. The owner kept the utilities in their name because the property is getting metered. The tenants agreed to pay the owner, but have not paid the utilities. Can the owner shut off the utilities? No. Or can the owner just stop paying the utilities? No. JP, let's talk about this. If the landlord turns off the utilities, then they're not providing habitable premises. I understand the lease contract says that they're supposed to be in their name, but they didn't put them in their name. So if they're not following the rules of their written rental contract, what can we do as property management? Serve a 3-day curable breach of covenant because you're in violation of your written rental contract by not having the utilities in your name. 3-day notice, cure or quit. J Tour, from where does the 207 per diem come from to put the family in a hotel? It comes from the County of Los Angeles Consumer and Business Affairs, Housing and Tenant Protections. The current per diem rate is $207 per month, including taxes, plus an additional $66 per adult for meals and incidentals, and $33 per child 12 and under. This is based on the Federal General Services Administration per diem rate for lodging in Los Angeles County, which is updated annually. I hope you got that. Do you ever use applications from online ads? I usually give paper app when they see the property. Thoughts? I always give a paper app when they see the property, making sure that my criteria is on the front page of that paper application, because that's my first line of defense in a discrimination lawsuit.
We actually do digital, and the reason for that is that it timestamps everything. But we also process a lot more, so I don't know, but
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm in the front conference room, Winter, if you can hear that. Tell him to come see me. This is, somebody sent me a message. Sorry, you guys. It's in the city of LA. In the city of LA, you could still serve a curable. Oh, the city of LA. No, you can't sell it with them in it. I would say something, but it's not. I got to be careful what I say. I get scolded sometimes. One of my comments is, you could burn it down with them still in it. Don't. You can't do it in the city of LA. LA, with all due respect, the city of LA has now taken their ridiculous rules and regulations and infected the county of LA with them. So no. Not in the city of Los Angeles. Yes, it does. It comes out of our pockets. Val, everything does. Same for San Diego City. I'm not sure. I could check with San Diego City. Arlene, $207 per day, not per month. Thank you. Yes. No, that is not the same per diem for the city of San Diego. This is not even for the city of Los Angeles. It is for the county of Los Angeles, not the city. Okay, so the county has come up with their own bureaucracy and bullshit regarding tenants. And yes, I said it. They have a standard schedule for relocation assistance, and per diem is not based on the daily rent value anymore. How do I see that being atrocious to landlords? I'll tell you. Let's say your rent's $800 a month, okay? And you got to put your tenant out for 5 days because of a water heater issue. So now you got to pay them $1,500 and your rent's only $800. So everywhere else it's per diem, meaning it's 1/30 of the month of rent. So you take the rent and divide it by 30 days. Don't care how many days are in the month. It's always done on a 30-day net because that's what a court uses. Everybody got that?
Called a banker's month.
Yes, but that's what the court uses. So outside of Los Angeles County, that is how you do it. I'm going to find myself saying, in Riverside County, you can do this. In San Bernardino County, you can do that. In LA, you can do nothing. I'm going to start seeing that we're going to have to be county specific.
Would you be able to put together a matrix of what we're allowed to do county by county or something like that? Is there any way we can get a cheat sheet of some sort?
Oh, would such a law firm have such a thing?
Okay. Got it.
I mean, how do you think I keep all this stuff straight? Do you think I just memorize it? A lot of it I do. And it's disgusting. I know that I can have so much just right here. I can quote you civil codes. I can quote you penal codes. I know all about a disposition of security deposit. That's all about California Civil Code 1950.5. Section E is in regards to timeliness. Section F is in regards to, I know it all by heart because I've litigated it. And I know that makes me sound like an attorney, but as a regional property manager, you got to go to bat for your landlords. That was my job. So anytime somebody would sue on the security deposit, I'd volunteer. You know why? I got really good at it. I figured it out. So not a difficult process as far as that goes. Everybody has their strong points. One of mine is dispositions of security deposit and court trials. Whenever we had to go to court for something, a tenant was suing, I always went to the court trials as the regional manager, and I learned a lot. I followed suit with some of those attorneys. I learned some quick verbiage very quickly. If I could teach you guys something, it would be this. And Ed will agree with me with this because I know he knows this law. And many of the rest of you may know the law also. If a tenant holds the keys, they owe rent until they surrender the keys, right? So if they gave you a move out notice that said they'd be out on the 7th of the month, but they held the keys until the 21st, we're going to charge them rent until the 21st, right, Ed? Because that's the day they surrendered the keys. So I did this and the tenant sued me because I charged them rent. And that didn't work out very well. Hang on really quick, okay? I got to do. Sorry, you guys, I was ordering my lunch. Like, give me carne asada tacos. The keys to my car are in the front of my purse. I could have just said it out loud. I figure we're all family now. Now remember, what was I talking about? I lost my train of thought. What was it? It was about charging until
About the keys, charging until 20.
So in this big convoluted BS story the tenant concocted is they gave us notice that they would be out on the 7th, but they held the keys because the house was in escrow to be sold, and the tenant sold their chickens to the buyer of the property, 200 chickens, by the way. So in a separate transaction between the seller and the tenant, or the buyer and the tenant, was this $200 chicken purchase that I had nothing to do with. So I want to keep that wall up, and Ed's nodding his head. If it doesn't have anything to do with you, don't invite yourself to the shit show, okay? Keep yourself out of it. So with that being said, they went back and forth for several days feeding the chickens until they were ready to make that sales transaction. Had nothing to do with me. So she argued about this and argued about this and argued and argued and argued. And it was my turn to talk. This is what I did. I said, Your Honor, I don't want to waste the court's time. Please take note that I only charged her rent until I received the keys. And that's my statement. And he looked at me and she looked at me and he said, thank you. And he thought about it for a second. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. I only charged her rent until she turned in the keys, period, end of report. All of the chicken sale and the this and the that and her intent, and she got out of the house but didn't give the key, that was all of my, it doesn't matter. I can charge them rent. So that was all I said to the judge. Your Honor, I don't want to waste the court's time. I just want to let you know that I only charged her rent until I received the keys. That's my statement. That's my rebuttal. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, I'll take my case under submission. That's all I had to say. And he's like, okay, I'll take the case matter under submission, because I just reminded him that all I did was follow the law. Doesn't matter about the chicken sale and about this. I only charged her rent until I received the keys. Period. That's it. So there comes a point where instead of arguing everything that happened, just stick to the fact. The fact is this: I only charged her rent until she got the keys. All that other stuff doesn't matter. I won. So when you get involved in court trials and more in with small claims issues and tenants coming at you trying to sue you for not giving them their deposit back or charging them rent until they surrendered the keys, you get pretty savvy on what the rules are, because you just want the judge to focus on that rule and nothing else. Does that make sense? So it's really nice when you're able to do those types of things and combat a huge 15-minute presentation of a lawsuit with, I only charged her rent until I received the keys, Your Honor. Do you have any further questions for me? I mean, Ed's sitting here giggling and laughing, but it was just matter of fact, matter of fact, matter of fact. And when you can go into court and present that way, you get known by the judges that you know what you're doing. You're aware of what's going on, and you become somebody that they see and go, hey, how's it going? You know, it's like you become in a relationship with them without having a relationship with them just because they see you so often. And let's face it, when you're dealing with a high volume of doors, you're dealing with a high volume of problems. Ed's nodding his head. Yep, that's a given. Okay, let me get off that track and back onto where we were. So per diem is not the same for the city of San Diego. Currently, LA County has a set per diem amount, period. It's only LA County. City of Long Beach owner wants to sell condo now. What can I do at this time? Sell the condo. Sell them with the tenant in it. Offer them cash for keys. Hey, offer it to the tenant first. If you can double in the deal, you're winning. In the SD refund, SD San Diego, we
Security
generate
deposit.
a cleaning fee, especially during COVID, despite saying they clean the apartment. Cleaning is a hard stick that's measured by many people all at the same time. I'm trying to find out what's going on because something's crazy. Mute yourself, please. Thank you. Okay, so getting back to my question. Somebody is texting me right now. My harassing me. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Pay the rent. Do you applications online? Okay, I'm trying to find. Oh, I ordered. Sorry. City of Long Beach. Here we go. In the security deposit refund, we generally charge a cleaning fee, especially during COVID, despite the tenant saying they clean the apartment. What do you think? Cleaning is a yardstick that can be measured by many variations of the word. If you want to know what I'm talking about, ask some kids what clean is versus what you think clean is. It won't be the same. My kids' level of clean and my level of clean are not the same. So it's just a yardstick, and you have to cover your asset, but at the same time, err on the side of caution. You don't want to get drug into small claims if you don't have to. If you know you're going there, prepare yourself. Make sure that all your ducks are in a row. If the tenant had left the chicken behind, were you, the owner, required to feed the chickens until you dispositioned? She didn't turn in the keys until the chicken sale happened. So basically, I charged her rent until she turned the keys in. If she would have left all those chickens behind, I would have had to call animal control. I'm a licensed I was a sales agent at the time. Now I'm a broker, but we have a fiduciary duty to protect animals and humans. So in the event that somebody is to leave a dog behind, we actually have to sit and wait with that animal until animal services arrive. It's a requirement of being a licensed agent. Not only do we have to make the call, we have to wait. It's our job, and we do not want to be guilty of endangering an animal.
Is that true with the landlord too?
With the landlord, you have a little bit more, I'm going to say this, so forgive me. With a landlord, you get a little bit more leeway because you're not a licensed professional. If you're a licensed professional, you better act like one, okay? But with the landlord, sometimes they don't require that they sit with the animal, make sure the animal control's called, blah, 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 blah. Whereas a licensed agent, we're held to a higher standard. Not saying that the landlord isn't at a high standard already, but we're considered the professional in the industry, so they hold us to a higher standard. I mean, come on, let's face it. If I overstate my 3-day notice by 1 penny, my case is bad. But if I understate it by $50, it's fine. So it is. It's a balance. You got to keep that balance. Hi, Patty. I lost it. Where'd it go? When we take tenants to small claims for unpaid rent for 2020, for the city of Pomona, LA County, they've been paying for rent, but they have a balance. When can we take tenants? Okay, you can take tenants to small claims regarding COVID rents 1 year after the pandemic period is ended, if they are still in possession of your property, or once they vacate, they have no more protection. So if they're evicted, you can turn around and do small claims immediately. Okay. If they're still in the property, they have 1 year after the pandemic period has ended in order to pay that back. So I believe in LA County, they're going to have until June of 2023 to pay the money back. And if they don't pay it back by then, you should be able to do a small claims case while they're still in your property. If you evict someone or they move out, then you can do small claims immediately. You don't have to wait to do small claims unless they still live in the house. If you provided.
And Patty, sorry
Yeah.
for interrupting you, but the small claims for rent, they lifted the limit because for rent, right?
It is unlimited for COVID rents. So any rents that were owed between March of 2020 and I believe it's October, it's not October. When did we stop? We stopped using a 15-day notice in October, correct?
I think so.
And October, November, December, January, February, and March was on a 15-day, and it was starting in March. We went back to a 3-day. Now I'm remembering. So it's until March of 2022. So March of 2020, just take it to March of 2022. No, October, November, December, January. I gotta look. I'm sorry, you guys, because we had the protected period, the transitional period, and the something else period. I can't remember. I have them all written down, and it's been a while since I've utilized the different time periods. But basically, I believe it's until October, November, December, January, February, and then March. And then March, we were done. April is when we got the new notice for April, May, and June, when state of California offered additional services for 90 days in protection for tenant. So officially that ended in March of 2020. So March of 2020 to March of 2022. There you go. Right in my brain, okay? Sorry. If you provided a unit with windows cleaned professionally, can you charge move out from security deposit plus cleaning fee? If you provided the unit with professionally cleaned windows, then you can charge the tenant to have those professionally cleaned upon move out. And here's me talking to you, okay? Window cleaning is the worst thing to get in a battle with in small claims court. And I'll tell you why. And I used to get the windows cleaned inside and out before a tenant moved in on my vacant properties. But if it rains the day after they clean the windows and the tenant moves in, then the windows are dirty on move-in. You understand? I can't charge them for clean windows if it rains the next day. And of course I live in the desert. So, you know, the rain comes, the wind blows, and now the windows are dirty. So I stopped cleaning windows and telling them that they had to clean windows just because it wasn't an argument that I wanted to continually battle. So if you don't want to continually battle it, stop preparing it that way. Let them move in with dirty windows. 18 months of rent relief has been paid for my tenant. He still has 10 months behind. Can we evict since there's no more rent relief offered? It's all until you said LA County. LA County, has he made any money since rent relief? And my guess is going to be no, he hasn't made any payments. So technically he's been affected by the pandemic. Wink, wink. If he's made a payment on his own anywhere in there, he paid April and May. Serve him a 3-day notice right now for June before you lose the opportunity. All the tenant advocate groups are telling tenants, pay April, May, and June. If you pay April, May, and June in LA County, you can self-certify for July, August, September, October, November, and December. But you got to pay April, May, and June. That's why they're fighting so hard to pay those 3 months as quickly as possible, because that's where your teeth are. Serve him a 3-day notice for June's rent only. Do not include July. And if he doesn't pay you in 3 days, call your legal counsel. You most likely can start an eviction. The inherited tenant who wants to move into a larger home obviously does not want me to run his credit. He has been my tenant, mostly managed by another 4 or 5 years. I haven't said I demanded it, but I'm leaning towards it since I really don't have much info other than a new application. He's current on his rent. Here's the reality. If he's current on his rent, he's paying his bills, he's not a thorn in your side. What is running his credit report going to do? Is that going to help you make a decision, or is it going to stop you from making a decision? You understand?
The question is, if the rent is going up, I would check that he has the ability to maybe pay that rent.
I'm qualified.
And I would maybe have him fill out, I wouldn't call it an application, but get contact information, like an update form, just get his place of employment.
Security number and his driver's license number. That helps in us in collections later in the event that it doesn't work. One of the big things I could teach you guys today, and Ed knows me and he knows I lean this way. When you're having trouble making a decision whether or not you should rent to a tenant and you're just going to end up going with it, here's what I could tell you. If they have Social Security or disability as guaranteed income, you also can't garnish those wages. What did Patty just say? If you get a money judgment against someone because they owe you $30,000 and they're on Social Security, disability, welfare, Section 8, it's probably not a collectible debt. Okay. So just something to think about. Okay. If they're applying with funds that we can't touch, then we probably can't touch them if they don't pay us and we want to garnish the wages. There's no wages to garnish. So keep things like that in mind. How collectible would the debt be in the event this goes sideways? So that's one of the questions I always ask myself right before I make that dreaded decision of, okay, we're going to have to rent to them. Now, what do we do? Ask yourself, is the debt collectible? Because if the debt isn't collectible, then you might want to find a different resident. Make sense? I hope this makes sense to you guys. If they have a cosigner, we don't like cosigners, we like guarantors. Why? A cosigner can live in the property, a guarantor cannot. Ooh, wait, what Patty just say? You guys are all gonna change your verbiage quick. A cosigner can live on the property, a guarantor cannot. If the guarantor lives outside of the state of California, I can't touch him, neither can you. Debt collection stops at state line. So remember that, okay? Something to think about when you're processing applications and looking at things is stop and ask yourself, okay, they've changed all these laws and made it so I can't find out if they've been evicted. I can't find this out. I can't find that out. You know, everything's so hidden now because they have all these protections. So what I really need to ask myself is if they don't pay me, am I going to be able to collect the debt? So start asking yourself that question when you're screening applicants. It does wonders to help you. Trust me. Reminds us that we may not be able to make a good solid decision right here based on the information we're given, but I can make a good solid decision whether or not I can put them in collections and be successful. I hope that helps put things in perspective for you. Can you use that a reason to deny if a guarantor is out of state? It must say so in your criteria. Look at Ed going, yep, probably says so in his criteria, that if a guarantor is required, they must reside within the state of California.
And be a family member.
Oh, you have that too? I don't know if that would be discriminatory based on familial status. Just saying.
Let me double
Yeah.
check.
We might want to look at, hey, look, Ed's on a mission now. He's like, wait a minute, Patty. I don't know. I think that might be discriminatory. I think it might.
Might be right.
I'm just thinking outside the box. but I'd look into that one.
It doesn't say it.
It doesn't?
Doesn't. It says the following. It says, if a guarantor is required, they must meet the above criteria with the following changes. It must make 5 times the rent and have a FICO score of 750 or higher. A guarantor must be a resident of California.
There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything about a family member, probably because I told you before, no, that don't sound
Probably.
right.
Yeah.
And those things that I look at and go, no, that don't sound right. What I'm trying to say to you is you might not want to put that in writing. that part doesn't sound right. And it's just so risky. Stop trying to figure it out and avoid it. Look, Ed's going, yep, that's how we do it. We stop trying to figure it out and just avoid it by saying the guarantor must be in the state of California. The reason being is debt collection cannot cross state lines. So if your guarantor is out of the state, what are they guaranteeing? Because you can't get them in collections. Got it? Okay, I saw more questions come. I'm off to answer them. I got you, Hilda.
Arlene, it's available on our website if you'd like. I'll send you a link to our website. And then J Tour, you asked how much a guarantor should make. We chose 5 times the rent. The reason being is because that guarantor needs to pay their own rent or mortgage plus the mortgage for our tenant.
2 households. They have to support 2 households. So if your regular criteria is they make 3 times the rent, you want your guarantor to be able to support not only the tenant, but also them. So with that being said, they need to make more money. They need to have a higher FICO score. And in order for it to be enforceable, they need to be in the state. It doesn't help when you get a bunch of exchange students or college students for that matter, all out of state, and all their co-signers are out of state too. Keep that in mind. And Hilda, I will give you a call as soon as this class is over. Not a problem. I'm here to help you guys. Don't ever forget that. Does anybody have anything else for me today, or I'll end it for today? Oh, we got more stuff coming. Oh goodness, Hannah, you're on a mission, but it's a direct message, so I won't read it out loud. Oh, Tony, hi, I haven't seen you in forever. Hi, for the unincorporated area of LA County in East LA under RSO, and I love you for giving me all these facts at hello. The tenant self-certified for April's rent because they thought rent relief was going to pay. Rent relief didn't pay, but they have paid for May, June, and July. Even though they still have a balance for 2020 and 2021, I don't think I can collect April 22's rent because they self-certified. Between you, me, and the wall, Tony, there's no self-certification in the month of April. Got it? But in LARSO, you ain't doing anything. So if you are outside of the county, I would tell you to serve or outside of the city of LA, I would tell you to serve a 3-day notice for the month of April because they can't self-certify and then start eviction. But because you're in LARSO, buckle up, baby. It's going to be a ride. They're going to carry this to the end of the year and allow tenants to self-certify till the end of this year. What? And most likely it will extend till June. And the reason I say that is because they have until June 30th of next year to pay the rent in full. They might as well be protected until that time, right? Just saying. Not a whole lot we can do within city and LA. It's ridiculous. How does it work for Section 8? 3 times the amount, 3 times, hold on, you're messing me up. How does it work for Section 8? 3 times or 5 times of tenant portion? If your criteria says that the tenant must make 3 times the amount of the rent, then that would be on Section 8's portion. So if their portion was $6 a month on Section 8, they would have to have a job that at least made $18 a month to qualify. And while you guys are all trying to wrap your heads around what Patty just said, if you're trying to deny a tenant on Section 8, it isn't going to be in the income qualifications that you're looking for. It's most likely going to be in the FICO score. Ed's nodding his head yes. Ed's nodding his head yes.
When they came out with the regulations saying that we have to now accept Section 8 at all properties, we immediately, by Patty's recommendation, increased our FICO criteria, basically.
Yep, FICO criteria is very important. You must have something in your criteria stating if they have no FICO score, what you will then do. Which is obviously if they have no FICO score at all, we can rent to them with double the rent as a security deposit. And here's my thinking on that. If an adult has gotten all the way to their 40s without having a FICO score, it means they live within their means. They've never extended credit for anything, meaning when they go buy a new car, they save the money to pay for it in full. They don't put it on credit. That speaks volumes to me. Okay, so keep that in mind. Not having a FICO score might not be a bad thing. Just saying. Okay, how does it work for Section 8? 3 times a portion. Okay, you got it. Patty, I have not been able to. Any new updates on rental increases in single family residents in LA City and Torrance? There is a rent freeze within the county until the end of this year. Do not do any rent increases in LA City or LA County until next year. Did you ask Dan how the injunction hearing went last Monday? No, I left him a message, but he's got family in town, so I haven't heard back from him, which I kind of understand. I got family too, I think we all do. But I will find out from him. Patty, my first smoke-free addendum was used when it was smoking tobacco products. Is prohibited on the entire property back in 2014. Since that time, the form has been updated to that the wording includes tenants' household have been designated as a smoke-free living environment. Smoking means inhaling, exhaling, burning, vaping, or carrying any lighted cigar, cigarette pipe, or any other device containing any tobacco product or other leaf, weed plant, or other products. My question is, holy crap. My question is, can I change the terms for an existing resident that signed the old form to enforce the new smoke-free addendum in an LARSO unit that's month to month? I have a question for you. Are they smoking pot in there? Because non-smoking should be non-smoking of anything. If you have a non-smoking addendum, technically tenants can't smoke meat in their barbecue in the common area. And in LARSO, I could tell you this, I learned from an attorney that litigates in that area extensively, that the only terms you can change in an LARSO contract or a LARSO contract is the annual rent increase when allowed, because right now we're not allowed, annual deposit increase when allowed, right now you're not allowed, and your attorney's fees clause. Anything that's mandated by law and nothing else. So I would go off the coat strings that non-smoking is non-smoking of anything. Okay? Non-smoking means non-smoking. They've already been notified this building's non-smoking. This is a non-smoking facility. And I understand that you have a medical card and you've been medically prescribed, but they did not prescribe you to smoke it. You can ingest it, you can take it in different forms, but the smell of you smoking in this community causes secondhand smoke and third-hand damage. And we can't have that here. So this is a non-smoking community, and that includes everything. And if you really want to continue to use pot, eat a brownie. Vape in your closet, nobody's gonna know. here's my thing when it comes to people that are smoking and people that are drinking. Okay. Both of them very legal in the state of California. I would rather deal with 100 tenants that are stoned and high on marijuana than deal with one freaking drunk. No joke. Usually the people that are using marijuana are quiet, they're laughing, they're keeping to themselves. It slows everything down. They're not moving fastly. They're not being loud and boisterous. They may be laughing, watching a movie, okay? They're not running through the hallways half naked, trying to jump out the windows and fly because they drank too much tequila, okay? Drunk's bad. People high, quiet. I know the smell's offensive. I get it. It's atrocious, but that's the biggest problem is that damn smell. Same thing with tobacco, damn smell. Okay, hold on, let me go backwards. Okay, so watch on LARSO that you don't change it. Question, so someone in LA could not pay rent for another year and then the landlord would need to give the family $20,000 to move out, relocation? Yes, Val, thank you for playing along. LA County or LA City. Remember, LA County now has standard relocation fees that need to be offered. Oh, I hate it when I hold something up. You guys can't see it because of my background. There is a standard chart for relocation amounts for the average Joe, seniors, minors, persons with disabilities, and low-income housing. And they base it off how many bedrooms you have within the county. It's not based on anything else. And I could tell you guys this, if you're trying to do cash for keys to get people out and avoid legal process and you're in the county, at least give them the amount that's on the DCBLA or whatever it is. At least give them a minimum of that amount. That way you're in compliance with what the county requires. I hope that answered that question. And does anybody have anything else? I'm going to go back. Bye, Melanie. I'm going to go back because somebody wants me to call them and they gave me the whole story, but I didn't read it because it was sent to me in a private message. Anna, we talked about LARSO. Just tell them it's non-smoking is non-smoking of anything. You can't enforce it anyway, no matter what you try to do right now. It's Hilda that I need to call. Okay, let me screenshot this so I have your number. And I will call you as soon as this is over. Anybody have anything else for me? Oh, here we go. It's one of my sisters. If two single people, not single, eliminate the word from your vocabulary. If two unmarried people rent in LA City and one cannot pay the rent, is the other one required to pay the whole rent? Yes, if they're both on the same contract together. Look at it like husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend. They rented it together. Together, they're responsible to make the payment. If one person can't, the other person has to. So both of them on the same contract, that's how that works. If you're renting out rooms, then they're responsible for that room and not the whole house. I hope that made sense. Room rent would designate individuals having to pay a portion, whereas unit rent would cover the entire unit no matter how many occupants were in there. So if you had 4 adults and only one of them was working, that one that's working better be able to hold down the fort. Anybody have anything else for me? Val's got something. What you got, Val? I had a house with 2 men. One was a bad guy. I had to evict him. Even the good guy got an eviction on his record. It's what we have to do sometimes, unfortunately. And that's why we use eviction as a last resort, especially in property management. It is the last thing we want to do because in my opinion, when we call a landlord and tell them, okay, we're going to have to do an eviction, I failed. I have exhausted all my options and I have failed as a property manager. And now we have to take legal action. So that's how I look at it. It makes me feel bad anytime somebody says, I'm gonna have to do an eviction. People are like, Patty, you work at an eviction law firm. How could that make you sad? I feel it. I'm a landlord. I don't want to spend that money. I get it. Okay. So remember, eviction is your very last resort. That is the last possible scenario you can come up with. It should be the very last thing in your playbook. You should have other things that you're doing first, using your fogging techniques and your capabilities of communication and things of that nature. Okay. I see another really long one from Anna. Hang on. I just got this in an email. Red alert, help stop the eviction moratorium in the city of LA. Rally with us on July 27th. Please join us for a rally on the South Lawn at Los Angeles City Hall on Wednesday, July 27th to call for an end to the moratoriums of evictions and rent increases. We rental property owners have suffered long enough. Los Angeles City Council member John Lee of Council District 12 is holding a press conference at 9 a.m. that day to call for the end to the moratoriums. Please come out and show your support to end the moratoriums. We need to gather in large numbers to show we mean business.
Problem is, even if every landlord in the state showed up to this, we're still about 20% of the population.
Yes, exactly. We are the minority, folks, and you need to start seeing it that way. Because if you don't understand why this is all working against you, and it can mess with your mental psyche. Okay? We are the minority. We are, and I have all three redheaded children, so we're the redheaded stepchildren. We're landlords. We're the scum of the earth. Did you answer the question about the injunction hearing? No, I didn't. I haven't talked to Dan yet. He has family visiting. Did you ask your lawyer contacts about the results? No, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to much of them this past week. I have had my own shit show going on. See, Patty lives in the desert. Patty's AC broke on Friday. Patty went out and bump started it with a freaking stick twice. Yes, I did. I am that person. Oh, toilet's leaking? Hold on, let's fix the float. I'm the girl that takes off the lid, adjusts the float valve, and puts the toilet back on. So I got a funny story. One day, I was at a move-in inspection and the people showed up, and I went to the bathroom to make sure everything was in order and check off my move-in inspection, and the toilet was running. Okay, so I pulled off the back of the toilet tank, set that on top of the sink, and here I am with my fingernails trying to adjust that little screw in the float valve, because that's what the problem is. And I'm trying, and I'm going, Jimmy, little bastard, and I'm making these little noises as I'm cursing at this little thing, and I'm grunting because I can't spin it fast enough with my little midget digits. Left the door open. So the tenant hears me in the bathroom going, and they're standing at the edge of the door. Can we help you? Trying to fix your float. They're like, we don't want any ice cream. No, your toilet's broken. And although I'm blonde, I do know how to fix it. I just can't turn it hard enough. So the guy comes in and goes, oh, the float here. And he twists it with his fingers and goes, there you go. And I said, great job, sir. And I put the toilet seat back on. But yes, I have been known to toilet in a three-piece business suit. It's what we do. All right, I see a couple more things coming and then I'm going to get off here. Beaten into AC submission. I understand what you're talking about. Actually, my capacitor went bad, so it wasn't getting enough power to actually turn the motor. So if I went out there and bump started it with my broomstick, it worked just fine. And yes, I used a broomstick. All right, I saw one more thing. All right, everybody, thank you. Thank you, Ed. I'll see you next week. And if anybody has anything, you guys let me know. I'll be back next week, no problem. We will be here. Love to everybody. And if you guys need me, hunt me down. I do have someone that I'm going to be contacting. You sent me a private message through this webinar, so I will contact you as soon as we get off of here and see if I can assist you, okay? Until next week, you guys, and if you need anything, hunt me down. You know where to find me. Bye, everybody.